Clevatess, episode 6, Insect Controlling Wizard. We see that Klen had to bug out from the group. So let's talk about it. Well, Becky Variant, so episode 6 of Clevatess. Again, this show is really good. If you're not watching it, you need to be watching it. If it's your first time coming here for the reviews. Hey, glad to have you. So let's get into it. Klen gets his first taste of coffee. This is how we start the episode. Coffee apparently is something that's very rare and hard to come by, as opposed to our society where it's everywhere. So it's a very rare thing to get. Coffee's always been bitter, but Nellaroo is able to hook it up and make it very delicious for the people involved, which is Alicia and Klen. And basically, they start asking questions about certain things that are going on. So, like, what happened with Gart? Gart decided to take off and go report back on what he's learned about magic and wizards to his boss. So he's like, all right, cool. Gart's kind of out of the way. Gart no longer suspects Klen of anything. So we can kind of leave that to the wayside and just kind of move on from here. Now, remember, that's Zaftier that Gart's reporting to. Now, we see that Estlin, we saw them fighting with Rhodes and stuff. They were fighting, and they've been trying to defend Haydn, even though they've got no response from Haydn. Haydn's been completely destroyed, as far as we know, and there's no one else that is able to help. So Estlin's doing his best to combat. Thing is, they're the weaker of the two in terms of magical forces. They don't really have a lot of wizards and stuff like that are available, so they have to make do with what they have and try to hold the line. But Bolade has been closing in, and Estlin and Bolade have been going at it for a while. Like, that's just kind of like their rivalry. It's always kind of been there. So Alicia's kind of always explaining this because of what happened with her father, and explains why Clinton should care about Bolade trying to take over, because Luna won't have a place within, anywhere in this kingdom. Like, they're going to want to use Luna for the powers of the Forge to, you know, unlock the secrets, all that kind of stuff. So if there's no kingdom of Haydn for Luna to be a part of, and he ends up getting taken to be part of Bolate, we kind of know how it's going to go for him. So Clint decides to investigate and see what's going on. So he bugs out from the group, takes off, goes back into his more or less, beast form, and proceeds to exit stage left. Alicia and Nellaroo go ahead and journey into a small town, and when they see the townsfolk are kind of going crazy on anybody who shows up that is not part of their particular city. So we see that some ravens, and there's actually a raven there who pointed out to Alicia. I was like, that's the hero that caused everything. And they didn't care. They were still beating the dude's butt. And like, everybody who comes into the town who is a former raven, they've been taken out back and more or less freaking done in. Like, there's nothing else that can be said. Like, they're dispatched very quickly and put on display. And this is to let anybody else know. Apparently, they've had 9 ravens in the past, couple of days. So this has to do most likely from Alicia kind of getting everybody, messed up with the sea creature. Now they end up stopping at a tavern. So, and she says, "Don't call me hero," because again, people aren't really happy with heroes right now. And we'll get more into that in a bit. So they stop at a tavern, and they are welcomed, in a sense, by the owner, who stops her 2, big burly boys, freaking from, pouncing on them, like, "Who are you? You don't belong here." And ask questions like, "Hey, I see that's a hiding baby. What's going on? Tell me the truth, or I have them beat it out of you." So Alicia divulges, like, "Hey, we're just here to protect the baby, and that's it." She's not lying, but she's giving the bare minimum that she can give. And he's like, "That's fine with me, as long as you spend your coin with me. I got no issues." So Alicia drops off 4 silver for them to get a room with some beds and some meals, which is 2 adult meals. So they end up getting ready to go upstairs, and of course the owner's like, "Hey, take the bags up for them. Stop being, all this, you acting tough like you want to be tough, and ain't none of y'all tough." Like, she is handling them, like she's kicking them in the butt and everything, so that because they think that they're hot stuff, and Mama keeps chumping them. It's hilarious. So they go to take the stuff upstairs, and they realize how heavy the stuff is. So this gives us a taste of Nell's strength. Like, Nell is strong, like strong as an ox type, is perfect fitting for her because she was able to carry this stuff on her back while carrying the baby, no problem. One took it off her back and barely could hold it. The two of them, two grown men had to carry this stuff upstairs and place it down for her. So I think that's going to come into play later on as far as Delarue's strength being a factor for something. Uh, Again, she's been the workhorse of when she was in the Ravens camp, so that strength should translate over. Now, with that being said, they go upstairs and they are set up very good in terms of rooms because they got rooms with metal beds. This is a town full of carpenters. And they got some metal beds because they did some business with Haydn a while back, and they were given those metal beds as, I guess, a gift for whatever work that they did. So having metal beds apparently is a big deal. Now, with that being said, we see as they get comfortable in the room, we see a bug fly to the outside the window, take a peek, and we see Maynard looking through the bug's eyes, and it's like, bam, he spotted his target. So now Maynard Swan is on his way and most likely gonna have some damage. And he's got like hundreds of bugs that he sends to the town. Like, go. Like, y'all know your target, go. Now, once they get settled, Alicia puts her sword down and she heads down to go get the food that she was told was ready. As she goes in to get the food, she's listening to everybody and all the opinions of everybody sitting around the bar. First one tries to hit on her and they just start talking. They're talking about how, nothing has been going right, freaking how heroes haven't been acting right, or, they're not around, the king's death, the beast lord rumors, how the king hasn't forged any new regalia for the past 15 years. So that's something to note. There hasn't been any new regalia for 15 years. So whatever regalia is out there, that's why it makes sense when Vroko was going after it, because it's so valuable. None have been forged. So every bit of regalia that's out there is useful, to anybody who can get their hands on it. So we know that there are 13 weapons, right? Back in the beast lord area, just sitting on the ground in his lair. Somebody can get their hands on those and we can have a fight. But those weapons are very powerful. We've seen how Stream Splitter works. So Stream Splitter is the 14th weapon that we know of in terms of the regalia. So again, Alicia's walking through and she's hearing all this, and you see it just kind of weighing in on her. And she's like, the opinion of heroes really has fallen. That's one of the reasons why she asked to be called Alicia and not Miss Hero by Nellaroo, so she can stay under the radar and not be kind of found out. While she's grabbing the food and she's walking back up, we end up seeing this ball come flying through the window. Turns out it's a centipede, big red centipede, and Maynard is there, and he is like, yo, I am here for what I'm here for, and I'm gonna tear stuff up. And that's exactly what he's there to do. Alicia goes to grab for a sword, doesn't have it because she left it in the room. And we have Maynard, saying, let me introduce myself. I'm this. I am the greatest wizard of the Bolade army. Some guy tries to run, ends up catching, claws, and looks like he gets torn apart from the bugs outside, because literally the entire town is swarmed. There is hundreds of these insects, if not thousands. There is a bunch of these insects. What are we gonna do? And we see essentially, we hear Nellaroo scream, and we see that Nellaroo is pinned to the freaking wall by one of the metal bed frames, with Luna sitting on one of the beds, as there is another wizard there. This is Nai, who is holding, I guess, her pinned against the wall with the beds, and has nails kind of floating. So she's ready to just launch a hail of nails right towards her. So that tells me that she controls probably metal magnetism or something in some type of way, because the metal bed frames were mentioned specifically. So if they had been wood, maybe this would be happening. Don't know. But that's the way the show ends. Really good episode. They're setting up for some real good conversation. We got Klen, who is not there and able to kind of deal with, a lot of these things through the shadows. He's off doing whatever he's doing. So Alicia's got to fend for herself. How is she going to survive? How is she going to figure this out? That's what remains to be seen. So if you're curious about that, make sure you hit the little red subscribe button. I'll be talking about each and every week. And again, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of this anime so far? What do you think of the episode? We are 6 episodes in, which means we're roughly at the halfway point. If it's the standard 12 episodes that most shows have been doing. So 6 more episodes. Story pacing is solid. Nothing feels rushed. Like, we're in there. I want to see where it goes. And I got to read the manga at some point in time. So that's all I got for this one. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.